At my brother's engagement party, he told me not to mention whatever it is I do now. He said it loud enough for guests to hear, loud enough to humiliate. I nodded, smiled, and went to refill my drink. 2 hours later, his fiancée stepped out in her custom rehearsal dinner dress. She said she found it through a little designer on Instagram. Everyone turned to me. Subscribe for more real stories that hit deep and stay with you. I'm Marcus Dade, 36, from Atlanta. I used to be a senior manager in private equity. 6 figures, power suits, the whole deal. I burned out after my second ulcer and a breakup that made me question everything. I left it all behind and quietly started a boutique clothing line focused on sustainable, body-positive formal wear. My family thinks I threw my life away. They call it a hobby. They have no idea what I've built. The day I quit finance, I expected someone to chase after me, at least a phone call from my dad or a concerned message from my brother, Tyler. I got nothing. Just a string of, "You sure?" texts from old colleagues and a cold silence from home. I'd walked out of that sterile glass tower in Midtown with a box of personal items and a splitting headache. No plan, no exit strategy. Just a sketchbook of dress designs I'd been hiding under spreadsheets for years, and a deep, aching sense of freedom. I rented a tiny studio apartment with peeling wallpaper and turned my living room into a design floor. I watched YouTube videos on tailoring, sewed with borrowed machines. My savings dwindled, but for the first time I could breathe. My family? They thought I was spiraling. "Midlife crisis," Tyler said in a group text. My mom suggested I travel a little and clear my head. My dad offered to get me an interview with a real firm. They couldn't understand that I didn't want to wear suits. I wanted to make them. 3 months in, I launched a small Instagram account. Just photos of dresses I'd sewn on mannequins, styled in soft, natural light from my apartment window. No face, no bio, just the clothes. I called the line Threadbare Grace. Quiet, intentional. Like me. At first, it got maybe 10 likes. A friend from college commented, "Cool hobby, I kept posting anyway." Then, one day, a message popped up. "Hi, do you take custom orders?" It was from a woman in Oregon. She wanted a dress for her courthouse wedding. I froze. Reread the message 5 times. Then I said yes. I worked 14-hour days for 2 weeks, obsessed over every seam. When she sent a photo of herself in the dress, simple, ivory, flowing mine, I sat on the floor and cried. She tagged the account, and slowly the followers trickled in. Meanwhile, at Sunday dinner, Tyler rolled his eyes when my mom asked what I'd been working on. "Still playing dress-up?" he joked. I didn't say anything. But that night, I shipped my 3rd order. 6 months later, I was buried in swatches and shipping labels when I got a message from a bride-to-be with 12,000 followers. "I love your work. Do you do rehearsal dinner dresses?" I almost dropped my coffee. She wanted something elegant but relaxed. Off-white, structured yet soft. We messaged back and forth, and I sent sketches. She picked one instantly. Her name? Elena Harper. I didn't think much of it until 2 weeks later, when my mom posted a picture on Facebook with the caption, "So happy to welcome Elena Harper to our family." My stomach dropped. Elena, my brother's fiancée. The woman whose dress I was currently hand-finishing on my studio table. She had no idea I was Marcus. Just at Threadbare Grace. She paid full price, said I was the only designer who actually listened. I didn't tell her who I was. I didn't even flinch when my brother texted, "Make sure you don't bring any of your Etsy stuff to the party." I just smiled and carefully packed the dress she'd fallen in love with. The engagement party was held at some fancy rooftop venue downtown. String lights, past hors d'oeuvres, The whole southern chic vibe. I showed up in black jeans and a tailored blazer I made myself. Tyler greeted me with a stiff nod and a warning. Keep it low-key, all right? I nodded. Sure. Then Elena walked in. She looked radiant, wearing my dress, off-white silk with soft pleats, hand-sewn floral embroidery, a modern neckline. She spun as people complimented her. Thanks. I found it through this amazing indie designer on Instagram. Threadbare Grace. Total gem. I watched my brother freeze. Elena, he said slowly, do you know who runs that brand? She blinked. No? Some guy named Marcus, I think. Everyone turned toward me. My glass was halfway to my lips. My Marcus? She asked. I just smiled and said, Surprise. She burst out laughing. You're kidding. Wait, you made this? She grabbed my hands. It's perfect. Tyler was silent. So was everyone else. The room buzzed after Elena's reveal. Aunts, cousins, even Tyler's co-workers suddenly wanted to know everything. How long have you been designing? Is this your full-time thing? Can I get your website? I handed out 3 cards and took 2 custom inquiries before dessert. Tyler stood by the bar, gripping a whiskey glass, jaw tight. When I finally walked over, he didn't meet my eyes. You really made that? He muttered. I did, I said, just like all the others you joked about. He stared into his drink. I thought you were just wasting your time. I wasn't, I said. But it's okay. You didn't have to see it. She did. That hit. He glanced over at Elena, glowing in the spotlight. People were still snapping pictures of her dress. My dress. She loves it, he said finally, like he needed to admit it to himself. She said it made her feel like herself. Then I did my job. He didn't apologize, not with words, but he reached out, clapped a hand on my shoulder and said, Thanks, man. For Tyler, that was thunderous. The next morning, I woke up to 47 new followers and 5 DMs. Apparently, Elena had tagged Threadbare Grace in one of the engagement party photos with the caption, Wearing a dream, handmade by my future brother-in-law. Can't believe how lucky I got. Then I saw it. A Facebook post from my mom. She'd never shared a single photo of my work. Not when I launched. Not when I got my first feature in a fashion blog. But there it was. Elena in the dress, with my handle tagged and the caption, Proud of my son Marcus. From finance to fashion, he found his calling. Took us a while to see it, but wow, just look. I stared at it for a full minute. Not because of the exposure, not for the likes, because it meant she saw me. Not as the son who threw everything away, but as someone who built something real. With his hands. With his heart. It took one dress, but it was enough. 2 weeks after the party, my inbox exploded. Elena's photo went viral on a wedding inspo account. A New York bridal boutique asked to stock a limited run of my designs. A podcast for creative entrepreneurs invited me to speak. But the moment that stopped me cold? A note from a young designer. I almost quit, then I found your page. You showed me it's possible to start small and still matter. I sat at my sewing table, surrounded by fabric, order sheets, and a mood board for next season's line. My hands were stained with ink and thread, and my chest was full. I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. But still, Tyler called and said, You're booked through next spring? That's actually incredible, man. Mom asked if I could design her anniversary dress. And Elena? She asked me to make her wedding gown. I said yes, because now they weren't just looking at me, they saw me. and they saw something beautiful.